Okay, let's watch this really quick. Imposter put out a video or linked a video. Sorry. About how fascism. It's called the 10 Tactics of Fascism, and it was made by
professor of philosophy.
And it was made to describe how fascism rises, right? And it is incredibly uncanny, the parallels to current America.
Fascism is a cult of the leader who promises national restoration in the face of supposed humiliation by immigrants, leftists, liberals, minorities, homosexuals, women, in the face of what the fascist leader says is a takeover of the country's media, cultural institutions, schools by these forces. And that's why you need a really macho, powerful, violent response. The fascist leader says he will solve the problem. Fascism is right-wing by nature. It's based on ultranationalism. However, you can have ultranationalist movements that are ultranationalist.
Bro, don't tell that to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Movements of minority groups. There is left-wing authoritarianism. There are bad things on the left. Stalin killed many people. Mao killed many people. These are terrible.
Yeah, but who did they kill? Okay, listen. This is getting a little libbed up right here. Who did they kill, dog? Okay, Stalin fucked up a little bit. Okay, he got a little paranoid. Who did Mao kill, though? Who did Mao kill? They never mention that. Whenever they go, yeah, Mao killed a bunch of people. He literally killed the people who were killing other people. Mao killed everyone that was starving other people. That's all he did. They never mention who Mao was killing, and that's like crazy to me. Mao only killed landowners. Also, Mao's okay, listen, it's bad. I don't agree with violence. I'm anti-death, right? But with who Mao killed led to the biggest boom in Chinese productivity and probably set China up to be what it is today, right? Without Mao, China would be just terrible. Without Mao, China would be so bad. Bro, he just killed landlords. Like, I don't understand. All he did was pick people who were going to be, okay. The main people who died under Mao were landowners or people who owned a business over a certain amount of employees or whatever. And he considered them to be direct contributors to the decline of the Chinese people or something. I don't remember what his words were. But I remember reading a quote from Mao about how landowners were like the parasites on society or some shit. And what they were doing is sucking people dry, literally, meaning they would starve to death because they couldn't afford a place to live, or they lost a home, or if they couldn't pay, they would kill them, the landowners.
Terrible figures, but not all terrible things are fascist. Fascism is a very particular ideological structure. When thinking about fascism, you can't think about these individual elements in isolation. They come as a bundle.
I feel like fascism is just the end goal for most of like saying fascist is a very like specific thing is like, I agree. But fascism is where you end up in like any way you go to the right. Any way you go to the right, you're going to end up at fascism no matter what. It's like leftists, right? Any way that you go anti-capitalist, eventually you end up at communism. It's not telling the future. It's just how it is.
My name is Jason Stanley. I'm the Jacob Urowski Professor of Philosophy at Yale University and the author of 5 books, most recently,
Maybe that's what he's going to say, by the way.
The politics.
Unless you're an
of
anarchist,
us.
even if you're an anarchist on the right, you still end up at fascism, right? Because with no method of control, someone will take that reign of control because they will have more money, more guns, more land than you. Somehow they will have conquered it, right? And eventually they'll have so many more guns than you that they will control you. And they will take your guns or they will take whatever. And it always ends up there on the right. And on the left, ANCOMs just exist because in like true utopian communism, there is no, like it's a stateless, classless, money society. There will be hierarchies, but you don't have to live within them. And the worst thing is that you just live your life.
And them.
Exactly. Yeah. Smellman, I agree. 1,000%. I agree.
Many fascist regimes start.
I agree. all forms of any change or any systemic change throughout history, large systemic change, leads to a lot of death. From feudalism to capitalism was extremely deadly. From capitalism to socialism in the USSR and China and Vietnam and Cuba was very deadly. In Latin America, very deadly. And not always at the fault of their own people, but at the fault of outside forces not wanting you to change.
Started off as democratic political parties.
The USSR and China didn't have capitalism. You're right. They had feudalism. But as Marx pointed out, capitalism is just resetting feudalism, because you eventually end up back at feudalism.
Forget that
it's just a
Hitler,
reset switch.
the Nazi Party, ran in an election. Fascist parties start as fascist social and political movements before they come to power. So it's important to see that these tactics occur even in societies that do not have a fascist regime. All nationalism involves a mythic past. So you can say, look, we're Polish people who spoke Polish and were sheep herders, and another bunch of Polish people who were fishermen. You can talk about how things were wonderful when we were all Polish together. That's a fine mythic past. But then there's the fascist mythic past. In the past, we were great.
Yep.
Wherein did our greatness consist? In our military. And in the past, the dominant racial group ruled over others. And then the fascist leader says, that has been taken from you.
Make America great again. That's crazy. That's insane. That's insane. Also, man, these BLM riots, am I right? Also, these people coming over our border, am I right?
By the leftists and communists. They want to weaken our military. They want to weaken our greatness. Propaganda is ubiquitous, and everyone uses propaganda. In political propaganda, your main message is something other.
This is the bro. Look, he's kind of looking little. I mean, doing cute things like
other than the information you're conveying. Fascist propaganda is a very particular structure. It's based around a friend-enemy distinction. The political opponent, they are a merciless threat to your very existence and your traditions. They are the other. When they are in charge, it subverts the nation. So the structure of fascist propaganda is based on the idea that the other are fundamentally opposed to the nation.
Like Republicans keep saying Democrats are, right? They can't, like that guy we had in Discord. Remember, chat, when I talked to that guy in Discord? He couldn't believe me when I told him I cared about him. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe that altruism is real. He couldn't believe that I just cared about him because he was human, right? And that I do love America. He said I don't. He couldn't believe me when I said, like, my family lives here, my history is here, and I want to make America better for them, their future. I truly care about it. More than you probably, considering you look to, like, weed people out like me, right? But I care about everyone as a whole.
As Hitler says in Mein Kampf, science is only useful insofar as it strengthens the nation. Fascism is a cult of the leader. It involves the leader setting the rules about what's true and false.
Huh, what's that? Man, that's crazy. Kind of like anti-vaccine propaganda and biolab shit and no masks, yeah.
So any kind of expertise, reality, all of that is a challenge to the authority of the leader. If science would help him, then he can say, okay, I'll use it. Institutions that teach multiple perspectives on history in all its complexity are always a threat.
I don't know. It's on that channel somewhere. Go ahead.
The center of democracy is truth. You're not free if you've been lied to. Nobody thinks the people of North Korea are free. The people of North Korea will vote for dear leader every time because they've been lied to. It's not a free vote because they don't have access to the truth. Equality similarly requires truth. Because equality in democracy doesn't mean we all have the same amount of money. It doesn't mean we all have the same car. It means political equality.
Okay, maybe this guy's base as fuck, chat. All right, this dude might be base as fuck.
That each of our voices matters the same. And political equality means speaking truth to power. If someone really powerful is humiliated when they're caught lying, that's the core of political equality. So if you're going to rip the heart out of democracy, you get people used to lies.
I don't think he's a liberal.
Here's a fact about humans. We all pretty much suck to the same degree. One group of us is not better than another group of us. Hierarchy is central here because it's the big lie at the center of things. What is...
I think I just took it too far. I think him saying that Mao killed a bunch of people in Stalin, I just assumed he was a lib because like that's like the lib shit to say. But it's true. It is true. It is true. It was a bad thing. Death is bad. I agree.
Racism, but one big lie. Racism is the lie that one group is better than another. You're told this religion is better, this race is better, this gender is better. It's really a moral claim, has more moral worth. And then once you have hierarchy set up, you can make people
he's an anarchist
and frightened about losing their position on that hierarchy. Hierarchy goes right into victimhood. Because once you convince people that they are justifiably higher on the hierarchy,
100%.
then you can tell them that they're victims of equality. German Christians are victims of Jews. White...
Wait, Christian nationalism is what rose in Nazi Germany? That's... Weird. I wonder if anybody said anything about Christian nationalism lately. I'm being attacked by the godless left because I'm a proud Christian nationalist. Representative of the United States government, huh? That's weird. Weird. That's real weird. That's weird. Wow.
White Americans are victims.
Just a coincidence.
Of black American equality. Men are victims of feminism. Once you convince people that they should...
That's like literally, bro. It's so crazy. We're hearing word for word.
...be better, that they have earned a position on the hierarchy over others, then you can tell them that equality is actually victimhood. Loyalty to the dominant group means law-abidingness, and the minority group is by its nature not law-abiding. Law and order in fascist politics means the members of the minority group who accept their subservient role, they're law-abiding, and the members of the dominant group, by their very nature, are law-abiding. By definition, the leader can't violate law and order. So law and order doesn't mean justice. Law and order doesn't mean equality. Law and order structures who's legitimate and who's not. Everywhere around the world, no matter what the situation is, in very different socioeconomic conditions, the fascist leader comes and tells you, your women and children are under threat. You need a strong man to protect your families. They make conservatives hysterically afraid of transgender rights or homosexuality, other ways of living.
It's so weird that we're just seeing this right now. Man, I feel like I know a place like this. It's crazy that I know a place like this. It's insane. Putting a bunch of legislation out there. Oh man, it's wow. Getting rid of women's health protections. That's crazy. I know a place like this. It has to be a third world country, right? Developing, right?
These are not people trying to live their own lives. They're trying to destroy your life, and they're coming after your children.
Must be.
What the fascist politician does is they take conservatives who aren't fascist at all, and they say, look, I know you might not like my ways. You might think I'm a womanizer. You might think I'm violent in my rhetoric, but you need someone like me now. You need...
Unironically, the people that we just heard interviewed about Trump, unironically, yeah, he was kind of bad, but we need a strong leader. Yeah, I mean, some people don't like him. He was a little bit of a problem, but we need someone like that.
Someone like me, because homosexuality, it isn't just trying for equality. It's coming after your family.
I know, Smellman. The Appalachia is so bad.
Fascist movements typically, though not invariably, rest on an urban-rural divide. The cities are where there's decadence, where the elites congregate, where there's immigrants, there's criminality, there's Sodom and Gomorrah. In the city, there's not real work. The pure, hardworking, real members of the nation live in the rural areas.
The bi-coastal elites, brother. The bi-coastal elites.
With their hands. When our politicians talk about inner city voters or urban voters, we all know what they mean. Arbeit macht frei. Work shall make you free. This was written
Oh.
on the gates of Auschwitz. The idea is that the minority group, they're lazy and they need to be made to work. Free labor. The minority group and the leftists, they're lazy by their nature, and it gives them a
Yeah, these millennials, bro, these Gen Zs, they just don't know how to work, chat. Remember? They just don't. None of these guys want to work. They just aren't working hard enough.
work ethic. Labor unions are run by communists who are trying to make things easier. Hard work is a virtue. In liberal democracy, we don't value people by how hard they work. What would happen to disabled people who can't work?
Yep.
They would then have no value. It's why the Nazis had the T4 program to
That's like the biggest argument against like fucking dumbasses who go,
murder the
oh, if you don't
disabled.
work, you
Because
just don't
the
deserve to
disabled
die. You deserve
were
to die.
Lebensunwertiges Leben, life unworthy of life.
many
Because
Germans
to be valued was to be capable of hard work. Each of these individual elements is not in and of itself fascist, but you have to worry when they're all grouped together. When honest conservatives are lured into fascism by people who tell them, look, it's an existential fight.
67% more people in 1960. Basically, 67 hours in 2022 live the same quality of life as 40 hours a week in 1960. Damn. So we have to work 67% harder than probably your grandparents, and probably 50% harder than your parents.
I know you don't accept everything we do, you don't accept every doctrine, but your family is under threat. Your family is at risk.
No such thing as an honest conservative. I disagree. I think there's plenty of honest conservatives. I think they're lied to, which is what he's saying. Anti-intellectualism is a huge part of fascist movements, right? Luring people, uneducation, the misguiding, like intentional, right? That like they see a problem. Okay, we talk about this. We'll finish the video. I'll
So
talk about
without
something
us,
I talk about every
you're
day.
in peril. Those moments are the times when we need to worry about fascism.
Okay. All right, let's draw out something that I talk about regularly on stream. Okay. As leftists, we'll do red because this is a good idea. We see a problem, right? This is problem one. I don't know what it is. No healthcare. As people, we see this collectively. Problem two, right, is there is a problem with homelessness, right? All right, problem three. There is a problem with immigration. Not immigrants, with immigration, right? Problem four, we see is housing, right? Man, things are getting more expensive, okay? So now is where it happens, right? We, as leftists, blame it on capitalism because we know it is, right? We know from data, right, like actual statistics, that it's capitalism, right? We know statistically, right? It shows us throughout history that this is just always going to happen. We can look at the revolutions all the time, right? Conservatives, or let's use far right, okay? Because a lot of people, this is where the majority of people exist. They see these problems, they just don't do anything about it, okay? They would inherently be conservative. But let's do alt-right. And we'll put these as fascists, right? The thing is, they see the problems, they know, but they end up over here because this is conspiracy. They have a disconnect and can never truly understand the stats. Does that make sense? There is conspiracy over here, and there's reality over here. There's truth, and there's deception, right? For example, people will think that these problems are, what was our first problem? What was our first problem? I don't remember. Housing, right? Or healthcare, right? The healthcare problem is because the Democrats, right? Bad policy. The Dems. That's a conspiracy, which leads to fascism, right? Homelessness. Well, that's also Democrats, right? Liberals, right? That's we'll put welfare, right? Welfare. Well, that's a conspiracy because statistically, most people spend less than 6 months on welfare and are off of it. Well, that leads to fascism. Okay. Third one would be like, what do we say the third one was? I don't know what the fuck that third one was. Anyways, it's probably rooted in conspiracy, whatever. I picked ones that are all rooted in conspiracy. Wages, right? Whatever. Wages aren't paying enough because corporatism, right? Well, corporatism is part of capitalism. It's just how it is. That's the problem. It just is. Or immigration, right? Is corporatism. Well, the reason corporations are the way that they are is because they're woke. And that's liberals, which is conspiracy, fascism, because they want to make more money, right? And immigration is, once again, policy by the Dems, which is conspiracy, considering the vast majority of people who come to America illegally are people who overstayed their visa. Fascism. Okay? On the left, right? Problem one, healthcare. Well, we make more than enough money. Problem is the military or whatever. Poor location of funds. We know how to fix it. We see the issue. We know what it is. We've analyzed it. We know it's just really hard to do. Takes a revolution. Problem two, right? Homelessness. Well, homelessness is caused by the Democrats, right? But it's caused by, once again, capitalism. It is more beneficial to keep a class down so that you know that you look. I don't care if I work as long as I'm not homeless, right? That's what they're saying. It's the best billboard there is to work till you die, right? Is to work till you die, right? So we know the problem is policy, okay? Three was, I forget already again, whatever, it doesn't matter. Same issue. We see that it's a policy issue and whatever. Immigration is a non-issue, right? That's one of the things where they just need a scapegoat. But we know immigration to be a non-issue. It's a non-issue. The issue with immigration that we see on the left, right, is that people are persecuted unfairly, right? Try to explain how poverty exists in California and Texas while they have different economies. So Texas is big on private sector and California is more publicly funded. Public funding does not equal, government doesn't equal socialism. That's it. What? Because liberals look to hide the problem. Okay, here's an example. In Texas, I almost guarantee in Texas that they have less damaging laws to homeless people. In California, there is laws to homeless people that have condensed them to one area, right? They hide them. Skid Row, they hide them under bridges. They say that they can't be except for certain places. They come and take their homes, right? And also, they literally aren't different economies, bro. They're capitalistic, right? They're capitalism. They aren't different economies. They still are capitalism, dog. It's different, the same economy. Just one state does more state programs. That's it. And it's vastly beneficial, by the way, in California. The education rate, I mean, it still sucks in California, right? But for those who can get it, is exceptional, right?